Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another awareness session of Reconstructing Minds, partnership with Positive Lifestyle Management and Project Righteous Endeavors. My name is Shantario, aka Brother Midnight. Um, Today, I want to talk about a very important subject. A lot of us use the terminology of being their brother's keeper, and I want to get down to the essence, meaning spirit of what being your brother's keeper is really all about, whether to an individual or to the family. Um, it is very important that we understand that no matter where we're at in life, no matter what we're going through, that we're going to have issues. We're going to meet individuals who have issues, but the key objective is being able to love them through their shortcomings. So I'm going to be coming from particularly four pieces of literature in reference to what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Um, so with that being said, let's get right on in. The first piece of literature I want to talk about is 12 Golden Rules when it comes to love. You know, there are so many different dynamics that go into this thing we call love. And love is what? Love is the one creative force of all existence. When I say love to you, what I'm saying is I am willing to accept responsibility for you, and I am willing to share responsibility with you. So the first piece of literature I want to begin with is the 12 Golden Rules. Words and views of wisdom, some practical application of the 12 Golden Rules. If you open it, close it. If you turn it on, turn it off. If you unlock it, lock it back. If you break it, repair it. If you can't fix it, call someone in who can. If you borrow it, return it. If you use it, take care of it. If you make a mess, clean it up. If you move it, put it back. If you want to use it, if it doesn't belong to you, get permission. If you don't know how to operate it, leave it alone. If you don't, if it don't concern you, don't mess with it. These 12 golden rules are a practical piece of our lifestyle management. The essence of the new concept is about lifestyle management. The essence of growth and development is about lifestyle management. Well, within these 12 golden rules, as it applies to love in our lives and how we deal with one another, we see the importance of the 12 golden rules in our daily lives, no matter what we're doing, no matter where we're at, no matter who we're with, how practical these 12 golden rules are. Great minds discuss ideas. Mediocre minds discuss things. Small minds discuss people. A sensible man watches for problems ahead and prepares to meet them. The simpleton never looks and suffers the consequences. So what I'm talking to you is basically practical things in our lifestyle management and how we treat one another, how we show love to one another, how we build relationships with one another. This family is the very emblem of what we represent. The concept of organization. Organization is a unified and consolidated group of people with an executive structure that deals with the well-being of all its people. It's an executive structure of business and enterprise for individual growth and collective acceleration of the body as a whole. So if you have a great mind, you're going to discuss things. You're going to be able to bring something to the table. A mediocre mind would discuss people, places, and things. A small mind discusses people. And you're going to deal with these different mindsets within the organization. But how do we deal with it? What do we do? When we come in contact with these people, how important it is that we recognize these things in the people we meet on a day-to-day basis. It is very important that we understand the dynamics of being our brother's keeper. No matter where we're at in life, no matter what we're going through, no matter who we're with, the dynamics of brotherhood plays a pivotal role in our lives. So with that being said, we're going to move towards another piece of literature. This is coming out of chapter 5 in the blueprint on page 47. And I'm going to begin reading at the very first paragraph. It says, universal law is the awareness that there are 360 degrees of love, life, loyalty, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in all peoples of the earth. That life has within it the necessary strength to gather from itself all that is needed for its growth and development. The law of love. The law of love is that which recognizes the good in others, even when they are hidden behind shields of negativity, ignorance, and stupidity, even when they are covered by the mask of greed, lust, and power. The law of love is that which allows us to see beyond these barriers as the potential good which lies hidden and awaits freedom from the deep imprisonment of falsehood. So in the dynamics of being our brother's keeper, you're going to meet individuals that are negative. You're going to meet people that are ignorant, they lack knowledge. You're going to meet people who exhibit stupidity. You're going to meet people who have who exemplify greed, lust, and power. But all these things play a pivotal role in how we maintain our lives. This is lifestyle mentor. This is what it takes to be a positive, productive member of society, no matter where we're at, no matter what we're doing. Things happen in this life for a reason. And when we meet brothers and sisters who say they are for us, the Bible tells us, by their fruit you shall know them. By their fruit. The fruit in life represents the characteristics. Our characteristics and how we behave, our mannerisms, our character. And with that being said, these are the things that help us identify our brothers and sisters when we meet them. Some brothers and sisters are genuine, authentic, loving people. They have great minds. And then you meet those who have their own personal agenda, who think it's all about them. And these things can be seen in their actions, behaviors, and attitudes. How they walk, how they talk, how they treat their fellow brothers and their fellow sisters. But the thing is, we still have to love them in spite of the falsehood that we see in them. There's a scripture in the Bible that conflicts some of the minds and hearts of the people who actually were raised believing in the teachings of the Bible. It says, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. And pray for those who despitefully use you and persecute you. And sometimes you want to ask yourself, who heals the healer? Who heals the healer? It just takes me back to a story in the Bible where Jesus was afflicted with the sins of the world, the offenses of the world. And Peter was there with him. And when the woman recognized who Peter was, he denied Jesus 3 times. But Jesus had already seen before the situation that even took place that Peter would deny him 3 times. But because of love, Peter had a place in presenting the gospel to the whole world. And just like us, brothers and sisters, we have an obligation. We have a mandate. Going all the way back to 1981. To stand up for what's right. To live positive and productive lives. To be productive members of society. And along the way, as it is said within the creed, We believe in aiding and assisting our fellow brother of the struggle in all righteous endeavors. But what happens when we don't get that love back? And I'm speaking about the dynamic of being our brother's keeper. What if what happens when you give your all for an individual, but the individual never does nothing to give back to you? And on top of that, has the audacity to complain, to murmur. These are the things that we have to consider when it comes to being our brother's keeper. Okay? I want to read a piece. I'm going to be paraphrasing this particular piece, but I want us to pay very good attention to what's being said. Brothers existing among us lack enough business, common sense, and ingenuity to reproduce. Despite of numerous opportunities which they have had to have something for themselves, these brothers are the first to say, man, I am about the organization. But when the organization is in need of help, they can't produce because of mismanagement of their business affairs. These individuals have the audacity to have their hands out when a few brothers who made sacrifices to have something for themselves and help to the organization's growth through their collective pool of resources are reproducing our brothers. These brothers are harmful and hazardous to our health and well-being. They are stumbling blocks in our path toward us because becoming a power to be reckoned with. And what that means is a force that has to be considered. It says, because of their misconcepting our concept, our goals, and our objectives, they see the near, but are unable to see the far. Instead of being sensible man, as the proverb states here, a sensible man watches for problems ahead and prepares to meet them. The simpleton never looks and suffers the consequences. They merely drift through life blindly, going nowhere, being aware of it, but never looking ahead, never producing. But because of love, we have to be able to look past their shortcomings. We're going to be able to have to look past their selfish behavior. We're going to have to look past their offenses. This is the essence of being our brother's keeper. This is the dynamic of being your brother's keeper. Enemy number 2. Lacking initiative to establish goals and objectives personally or organizationally and are able to plan long range, only thinking about a moment's satisfaction to feed your desire at that particular moment. Living not in the framework and concept of organization, yet claiming to be a part of it, but existing upon some fictitious character who you read about in Donna Goins' book or saw on the boob tube to be a real life player. You're going to meet brothers and sisters, man, that just have their own agenda. They're going to have the look. They might even exemplify some of the characteristics, but in essence, in spirit, they have a hidden agenda. Their heart is clamored with selfish endeavor. It says, our brother, it has been overly expressed that our concept is to establish you as an individual, personally, a member organization of this organization. This is establishing goals and objectives for and within yourself, both organizationally and personally. Being able to think and plan, not only for today, but for tomorrow. Our organizational goals and objectives have been established upon progressive positive accomplishments by you to the community as an individual, personally, and member organizationally of this organization. They are not based upon you being a lifeless, non-productive type of individual with no purpose or meaning for being. Your reflection upon this frame of mind is radiating bad vibes, placing specks of dirt upon the lens of this organization, disrupting organizational unity upon one frame of mind and collective exhilaration, declaring yourself as an enemy of the people, the cause, and our goals and objectives. These brothers and sisters are going to come to us in any and every kind of way. Jesus gave a prime example of that in John chapter 10 when he was talking about sheep recognizing his voice. And just like the sheep have to recognize his voice, we have to recognize the voice of the master of the vision when it comes to being a positive and productive member of society. Positive organization produces positive, productive people. Even when we see the shortcomings that exist, and we have the proof that these individuals have fallacious and vindictive, manipulative attitudes, behaviors, and actions. Or actions, behaviors, and attitudes. How do we deal with it? We have to love them anyway. And it's easier to say it than done. We know these brothers and sisters are harmful and hazardous. But what do? We have to continue to love them anyway. It's a hard job, as some would say, but someone has to do. In closing, brothers and sisters, on page 75 within the teachings of the blueprint, it says we have one mind, one aim, one purpose. individually, personally, and collectively as an organization. On page 57, beginning at the very first paragraph, it says, in preparation for tasks before us, let us become more aware of our first principle, the love that we may go on and face the visions of our leadership as though called forth for a purpose. From now on, we must put our love in its proper perspective by realizing that love is the one creative force of all existence. Love surpasses all other principles because it is the first cause of the creation of humanity. Simply put, without love, there would be no you. Because love, brothers and sisters, is the essence of what brought us into existence. It says, thus love can make certain that we progress nonstop towards educational, economical, political, and social development, and pave the way for our necessary train into the new concept. For we must give our life's energy to love for each other. All is secondary. Therefore, we face with the question, I am my brother's keeper. Love asks us not to ignore the shortcomings of our fellow brothers of the struggle, but to love him in spite of his shortcomings. To show faith in the love within him, that he will catch our leadership's vision and in time come to realize his own strength and seek to rise above our path. We need not flatter him nor lead him to overestimate himself, but rather we help him to understand himself and know that he has a friend who will aid and assist him in all righteous endeavors. To that degree, we are our brother's keeper. And with that being said, I want to just thank you all for your continued love and support and understanding what it really means to be our brother's keeper. No matter what we're going through, no matter how hard it gets, these are the dynamics of being our brother's keeper. And we have to be able to recognize these individuals for who they are. Either they are great minds, they discuss ideas. Either they're a mediocre mind, they discuss things. Or either they're small minds, they discuss people. And with that being said, this has been another webinar section of Reconstruction Minds Incorporated in partnership with Positive Lifestyle Management and Project Righteous Endeavors. My name is Shantario, aka Brother Midnight. Love.